Everyone, and welcome to our podcast. I'm your host, Foti Stamos, and along with me, as always, Ari Kalos.
Hello, hello. How is everybody doing?
Excellent, Ari. Ari, we've had some interesting and amazing guests, and we're very grateful for that. And it just keeps getting better. We're coming across guests from all over the world, not just the US, not just Greece and what have you. But thanks to social media, our next guest in our program really wowed me based on what she's doing. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what she's doing and who she is. But I wanted to welcome to our show, Chrisa Giorgi.
Hello,
Thank you.
Chrisa.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking the time. I'm sure you've got a lot going on. It is during, we are in holiday mode, so I'm sure there's a lot of moving parts for everybody. But this is an opportunity for us to actually finally get to speak to you after following you on social media and being fascinated the fact that you're taking the efforts to do something that we're going to talk about that I've been always wondering why hasn't it been done before. So Ari, I'm sure we've talked a little bit about Chrisa directly, but Chrisa is putting together, and she'll tell us more about it, a documentary on the wine culture of Crete. And we've touched upon some of our segments with Cretan wine. We did a webinar with Cretan wine, getting our fans and our audience a little more familiar with the production from Crete. Crete is a fascinating part of Greece, in my opinion, that produces some of the best products overall, not just wine. And I think this is a great opportunity to get to know Crete a little better with Chrisa.
That's absolutely correct. And, I am part Cretan, so this touches home for me. And I actually don't know all that much about my heritage. I mean, I've been there when I was young, but my mom passed away when I was younger, so I never really got the full effect. And when Foti first introduced me to this, to you through social media, and then we saw your clips, it was absolutely fascinating and something I think it, like I said, it's close to my heart, but it's something that's so much more. And I think everybody out there absolutely has to see what you're doing and has to learn more about this, because it's just such a fascinating and wonderful part of the world that produces amazing wines and much more than that. But you know what? Let's talk to Chrisa, because
Before we get to know a little bit more about Crete and Cretan wine, let's get to know a little bit more about Chrisa and tell us, Chrisa, where this all started from. What led you to what you're doing today. Maybe give us a little bit about your roots from Greece.
Oh, funny that you mentioned the word roots. So I come from a family in Crete where my grandfathers had vineyards, and all the family had to attend and help during harvest time, which was not that fun after we got a little older and we actually had to do the actual work. Because when we were children, it was fun. We were playing at the vineyard. Fast forward to me moving to the US 5 years ago, I started tasting different wines from all over the world. The US is a country where we're lucky enough to have wines from all over the world.
Oh, yes.
And I got fascinated with the idea of wine tasting. I wanted to learn about the history of the wines and the people who made it. I was always fascinated by stories. I had nothing to do with wine, though. I studied poli-sci in university, and then I launched my career advising politicians on public speaking and strategy, basically. Branding, the way that we say branding, but for politicians.
Nice.
And I never thought I would have an interest in changing careers, but here we are right now. And there was a point in my life here in the US where I said, well, I would like to to turn into wine as a career, and how can I do that? Now,
Let me ask you this. What was that pivotal point? What actually got into your head that moment? Where was it?
it was at a winery in Oregon.
Okay.
We were tasting Pinot Noir, and the owner, I believe it was the owner, it was a small winery.
Yeah.
The owner heard us talking Greek, and he said, he recognized the language, and he said, "Oh, you're Greeks. That's great."
I hope that was a positive.
No, it was not, because he was excited we were Greek, but then he said, "Yeah, your wines are not that great." In that moment, I realized this guy has not a clue what the Greek wine industry has done in the past 15, 20 years.
So true.
And that was not the only guy who didn't know about what Greek wine is all about, and what
I want you so much to become a great success, so you could start off with somebody was messing with your Greek pride, and it spurred this whole movement in the world.
well, it's a different different things that motivate different people, right? For me, it was always someone told me that, "Oh no, you cannot do this," or "You're good enough," or "Who do you think you are doing this?" It's like,
You know, many
that
great
motivates
things.
me. I'm like,
Yeah, many great things have happened from that kind of motivation. So I want this to be your, just, you know, keep doing it.
thank you, thank you. So that was the first time where I felt, maybe we're not doing a great job as a country in Greece marketing the wine aspect of our culture, of our exports, and maybe we can do a little better job. So I started thinking, how can I contribute to this? And let me tell you, being a young person and a woman and a person who has not a deep knowledge in wine, wanting to go into the wine industry, it can be really, let's say, not welcoming.
It could be intimidating and frustrating at the same token. Absolutely.
It requires some kind of courage.
Oh yeah.
To get into the wine industry from zero. And I have a background in marketing, so I thought, okay, what can I do? So that's how Wine Cellar Stories started on Instagram. And I started sharing all kinds of wines, not just Greek wines.
So you decided to create an Instagram account called Wine Cellar Stories.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I started sharing my thoughts around wine, the wine industry, and slowly started introducing some Greek wines and some wines from Crete. I'm originally from Crete. So that spoke to my heart. And I slowly realized that I don't have enough wines from Crete to taste in the US. And at the same time, I started watching all these documentaries on Amazon Video. And I noticed people were tasting wines that they knew the stories of the certain wines, the people who made it. So there was a point where I saw we lacked that connection, the storytelling with our wines through to the consumers. And you know, Greek wine in Greece, it's all about the myth, it's all about the story. We have to use that in our marketing and in our storytelling.
That's so true, so true. We had a brief conversation not too long ago with Ari, where there's another colleague of ours that joins us on a lot of our webinars, and her name is Dr. Susanna Hoffman, who's a notable anthropologist, and her inclusion of the stories that's behind everything that we discuss was a bigger part than the actual sipping of the wine.
Yes.
But yes,
The
to your point.
stories to somebody like me who I consider myself like the wine outsider, and that's why Foti and I are a good team, because he's the expert, I'm the outsider. He's always kind of teaching me about it, and whenever we have guests such as yourself, like I try to play the role of like the person learning about it, and hearing the stories. To me, I love wine obviously, but hearing the stories makes it so much better. And hearing you describe like getting the story with the wine, I feel like it's such an important aspect of the whole wine experience. And absolutely what you're doing is something that is needed and necessary. And we'll get to where we're going to talk about the documentaries, but I just want to say briefly, like watching some of these clips, I was completely like engrossed in it, and it makes me want to drink more Cretan wine.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's 100% true. It's not just something we're saying. It's 100% true.
I mean, what better pairing than a good story with a good wine? I mean,
Exactly.
you cannot get any better than that.
Because
Yeah,
we surround ourselves in general with, socializing, talking, discussing, having conversation around wine. So it obviously makes sense.
and I also feel that with how society is going with technology, and then especially now with the pandemic, and what I wouldn't give to be in an old Greek taverna with an old guy with a wine telling his stories. Like I would love to just get that feeling again. I mean, it's great that we could communicate through technology, that's absolutely wonderful thing, but come on, send me to an old Cretan village with an old man with a bottle of wine and let me hear those stories, and that wine is going to be the best wine I've ever had.
Yes,
Just make sure they don't give you
how it
too much
is.
wine.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's how it is.
So Wine Cellar Stories becomes live. It's growing popularity. You're growing followership. You're posting great content. And then what happens?
Then I realized that I need more content and I need to have a focus, because I was all over the place with the Greek wines, with the American wines, Italian, French. I wanted to focus, and what a better focus than in Crete, but I didn't get to that because by myself.
Okay.
So as fate would have it, one of my wine teachers at a presentation, he said, oh, we have pre-phylloxera vines only in Chile. And I raised my hand and I said, no, we have in Crete as well. I remember it. My grandfather used to tell me all the time. And he goes, no, it's only in Chile. I don't know anything about Greece, but Greek wines are not that good, right?
Wow, once again.
Once again, I was shocked because they were telling that to my face. And plus, I was shocked by how little people knew about the quality of Greek wine, let alone the varieties and the microclimates and all the beautiful stuff that we have in Greece. I've heard from many people that, well, Greece is nice because it's a vacation place, right? It's the beach, the sun. And I say, no, we also have mountains and great wines and great wineries, and go and visit when you can. In the meantime, I thought, what can I do to bring Crete to the US? And the answer was, let's make a documentary.
And that's a pretty big statement right there, because as I know, I'm not sure about everybody else, but that's a tall order, and you set yourself up for some real work, I imagine.
It was not hard. It's not easy. It hasn't been since the beginning. But I'm grateful for every step of the way. I'm hoping that with my team, we're gonna create a really beautiful documentary where it would not only make people want to drink wine, but actually go to the store and buy it.
Right.
Or order it online now. Now we are in these times.
Right. So so you got the idea, thanks to this teacher, of pushing the thought of, we need to do a documentary. So tell us a little bit more about you said the team. You created a team, and how were you able to do that? And at what stage are you now with the production of this documentary?
Well, there was nothing professional about me making a team. It was basically a cry for help. I was like, look, you guys, I need to do that. And I need your help.
Okay.
So I hired a videographer in Crete. And then I had a lot of volunteers to help with staging the photography and the art director, the driver. I mean, I had my mom help, my brother.
As
It
they
was
say in
nothing
Greece,
professional about that.
like they say in Greece, it took a village to help out.
Exactly, it took a village.
But I love it. I love it because there's passion behind it.
Oh, from that we have plenty.
And I think that would make the best product. If you had an unlimited supply of money and hired every single person, I guarantee you that you wouldn't have got as good a product as the people who volunteered because of the passion.
The passion and the heart they put in it, because they really believed in what they were doing.
Yeah.
Even though we were 12-hour work days in the sun, in the vineyards, and that can be tiring if you do it. We did it for 3 weeks,
Oh, I can imagine.
one after the other, no
Yeah.
breaks. Yes.
Wow, that's incredible. So you were asking, so where are you at right now?
Right now, we are fundraising for the editing costs of the documentary, the whole production, and actually to go there, hire the people, and film. It was all from personal funds.
I was going to say, so you funded this yourself, and
Yes.
unless you're, some sort of billionaire, like there's
I'm
only
not.
so far, there's only so far you could go. So it's very important. And before we finish, we need you to list where people could find this information. And obviously we're going to list it with the podcast and the video as well, because it's very important that you raise the proper funding to get this out, because this is an absolutely wonderful thing that you're doing, and people need to see this. So so now you're still in the funding phase, correct?
Yes, we're fundraising at the same time. We're really slowly editing. Like as a fundraise, I put some more money into actually editing the documentary, and it's going.
Are you
It's going slow.
Are you still filming as well at the same time? Do you still have to gather more footage?
I did that in October. So
Okay.
coming back and reviewing all my footage, I saw that I have the wineries, I have the storytelling from the owners of the wineries. I have the professor, like I have a professor of viticulture that spoke about the indigenous varieties on the documentary. I have the master of wine, Mr. Lazarakis, describing how the wines feel from his professional point of view. And I was missing the part where the consumers speak and taste and speak about the wines. So what I did, I took my little camera and my tripod and my lights and my microphone, and I went to different states, asking wine lovers that I was following through social media if they would taste one white and one red, and comment on camera. So I went to New York, New Jersey, Washington, D.C., and Northern Virginia, and Baltimore.
Oh, wow.
Good for you.
And I had people taste the wines. They were tasting the wines for the first time. And they were commenting about it. And I believe that makes the documentary a more holistic approach.
Yeah.
It took a more holistic approach because we have the trade and the consumers.
That sounds awesome. And I don't want to tell you how to do your job, Chrisa, but I think you have to make a sequel with that original professor and original Oregon wine guy and show them what's going on right now. That's part 2 of this documentary.
That would be a fun thing to do.
We
Definitely.
could be your actors. We can act like those guys if you need.
Fatih could definitely act like a old grumpy dude. So,
But just listen to what you're saying. I mean, think about it, Ari, from the beginning to where she is now. You know, picking up and traveling to destinations just to be able to capture, you know, people's perspective on tasting. I'm assuming they were tasting Cretan wine for the first time. These
For the
individuals
first
for
time,
the first time.
yes.
wow.
I mean, that's some serious thought process right there. I mean, and I don't know of anyone currently that I've come across that actually has taken these approaches, and I commend you because that's what it takes in the times that we live in to bring a wine culture to the wine world, where we just mentioned how it's so undervalued, overlooked, misinformed. The stigma still irks us as far as the reputation of Greek wine, even though it's getting better. From 20 years ago, let me tell you, when I decided to take the leap of faith into this, and I would go door to door in sales, every single, when they say, you get the door shut on you so many times, I was almost immune to the sound of the door getting shut because it kept getting shut over and over, only because, unfortunately, the only thing that mainly stuck to the consumers here in the US back in the 80s and 90s for Greek wine was either Retsina or Mavrodaphne. That was our reputation.
Yeah.
And it's not the consumer's fault, as we mentioned. It's because, unfortunately, we didn't have the infrastructure, the professionalism, the experts to allow Greek wines to develop like they have now. So that stigma stuck around for a while, but we're overcoming that slowly but surely. And efforts like yours, I think, goes a long way. That eventually, at some point, that stigma will be a memory lost.
Yeah.
I believe that too, and I believe that um, the social media and how easily it is to use technology to connect uh, the the wine trade with the consumers, the winery. The consumers they can access their favorite winery through Instagram, and that creates a connection we didn't have 15, 20 years or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. But it's great. I think once, in my opinion, your documentary gets out there and it's being seen and it gets shared and viewed, I think we're going to see a lot of positive impacts for sure. There's no question about it.
No, that's for sure. I mean, obviously you're sitting here in front of me, and I'm going to tell you right now, honestly, not because you're our guest and we're speaking to you, but this is 100% right up my alley for something I would be interested in if I just literally came across it somewhere on social media or I got an email from someone. I would be all over this documentary. I mean, obviously I'm Cretan, so right there, but it's not just that I'm Cretan, it's that it's something that I feel I've been missing. Like I really love stories. I really love the connection between culture and wine, the stories of culture, the stories of wine, put it all together. Like that to me is a very enticing and entertaining thing. And I love to learn. So it's like a full package. And I really, truly believe that.
You guys are in the wine trade for a long period of time. Do you think that if a consumer watches a documentary and goes to their local wine shop or some e-shop and they ask for the wine, they would find it?
I'll answer that, Ari.
Yeah.
Oh, well, so it's a very, very good question because this has been a setback for us in the Greek wine world, where we've done plenty of events, done a lot of marketing, and we get people excited for the moment. And if they don't have access to it when the iron is hot, as they say, then if they do visit their local wine shop and it's not available, then there's a disconnect, and then that buzz gets lost. What we've been trying to do is we've been trying to make a better connection to keep the buzz alive, where we get people excited. And the quickest way to make the impact is to connect every type of content, social media, newsletter, film, video, to our platform so they can purchase it directly and not have to venture out, because the reality is that there's some great wine shops around the country that do support Greek wines, and God bless them for doing that. But they represent a very small percentage of retail that has a good selection of Greek wine on the shelf at the moment. And I'm hoping that will change as time goes on. But I think that with our efforts, our goals are, or one of the main goals is to be able to have these products accessible. And we believe that the e-commerce is one of the biggest solutions for us at the moment.
And it makes it so easy for the consumer as well. If all they have to do is click a button and pay through their phone or their computer,
it'd be great, if not to impose, but it'd be great to have maybe a link in your documentary that after they watch it, here, click here to buy Cretan wine.
Yes. Well, I don't think that we are allowed to do
Yeah,
that.
it was just wishful thinking.
But yes, there are things that you can actually say, well, if you want it, you can find it through here.
Sure.
Yes.
Or subliminal messages, you know, a quick flash. They'll be like, I really want that Cretan wine. But I would challenge anybody out there right now, right here. I would challenge you to not have a curiosity and a desire to try Cretan wine after watching her documentary. I challenge anyone, and I would love the feedback. If you could honestly tell us that you don't have the desire to try Cretan wine after watching this, I would love to hear from you. So that's the challenge we're putting out there.
Challenge
Well,
accepted.
thank you.
But Chrisa, so you're in the mode of editing. So you're working on getting your footage edited. Anything that you're working on simultaneously in the meantime as you're editing your project?
Yes, I'm working towards my diploma, WSET diploma.
Good for you.
And I was not aware that it would be so much work, but it is. Here we are. And
you're preparing for an exam, if I'm not mistaken.
yes, in 3 days from now, from when we're recording this podcast. But yeah, documentary editing and my day job, and also the studying takes a lot of time.
Oh, well, we appreciate the fact that you took some time to join us, because it sounds like you have a pretty full schedule. And honestly, I think it's great that you're so busy, especially during these times. You know, it's better to be busy than not busy. So I know it's tough on you, but at least it's positive and good.
And now, Chrisa, do you have an expected date that you'd like to have the documentary completed and launched?
So the goal is to finish the editing in February, start sharing the documentary through different film festivals, and around the fall of 2021 to have it released for everybody to watch.
And where do you have any knowledge of where it's going to be released, or where you want it to be?
Through the Amazon Video platform.
Okay. So people could
people can
get it right
watch
on demand at home.
That for free, yes.
Awesome.
And I don't know if the documentary gets any awards through the film festivals, and some major distribution channel wants to buy it, I won't say no. You know, it's
why? I mean, absolutely. Why not? It'll just spur you to keep moving and keep making and creating, and I think that would be amazing, especially if you. I'm going to assume you enjoyed the process as much work as it was. I'm assuming you enjoyed the process, correct?
I did enjoy the process, and part of it was because I was discovering at the same time as I was filming, not just the stories, but the quality of the wines from Crete.
Mm.
I had no idea. I had the pride, I had the passion. I didn't know that Crete had such quality wines. I mean, we're talking about 11 indigenous grape varieties,
Mhm.
and all of them have a distinguishable character that, I don't know, it really
Blows your mind.
shows the microclimate of Crete and the beautiful terroir.
Mm,
Wow.
excellent.
That's so cool. So, okay, so right now you are in a funding process. So we're going to get all that information, and we're also going to link it everywhere. We also have we'll let you know after. We won't get into it now, but I think we could help with some of that fundraising as well. And we're gonna again link it everywhere. So everybody out there, this is a really amazing thing that she's doing. So why don't you give us, do you have a website? What's your social media handles everywhere that people could find you?
So the website is being built right now, but you can find me mostly on Instagram at Wine Cellar Stories.
Yeah. And I'll link that as well. Yeah.
And you can get all the information from there for the fundraising as well. But any extra fundraising,
absolutely.
I definitely appreciate that, you guys.
Well, we'll discuss that before you leave, but absolutely, that's what we're here for as well.
Yeah. I mean, stories like yours and what you're doing is not just interesting to us, but it's also part of everything that we are about. And, you know, without people like you, what we'd be talking about, it'll be me and Foti talking to each other, and frankly, nobody wants to do that or listen to that. So it's good that we have people that are passionate, that are doing creative and very cool things. I mean, just from the little bits that I've seen, it's like, it's so cool. It's so cool. And that challenge stands. I want to hear from somebody.
Well, we're definitely gonna bring back Pisa to our podcast to give us some follow-ups, or maybe we can have you come back when the documentary is ready, so that we can let our audience get excited about it. But any last minute thoughts, comments that you'd like to share with us before we come to a close?
One thing that I would like to share is for people that are inspired to change their careers and get into the wine industry, is have courage and find something that really speaks to your heart, and go for it. Take an action. I was not prepared to do filmmaking. I learned it along the way. I believe that when there is a will, there is a way. And despite, being in the pandemic and having all this difficulty traveling, I did the trip to Crete, and it was difficult, but
You did it.
yes. So this is what I want to say to everybody. Don't be afraid because you don't know something. Be willing to learn it, and then, go with the flow, as they say, right?
Well said. Well said.
Very well said.
Well,
And drink Greek wine.
I would right now, but it's still like 10:30 or 11 o'clock in the morning. But I'll save it.
That never stopped you before, Foti, so.
I don't want to give people the wrong impression. But anyway,
I mean, this was amazing, and thank you so much again with your crazy schedule for taking the time.
No.
We're gonna get all your information linked
Thank you
up.
for the opportunity.
Yeah, and we're gonna make it a very big point on our end to really get people as much as possible to know about this, to watch it when it's ready, to hopefully donate, because this is something that's very important to our culture. So everybody out there, make sure, in any way you can, just support these types of people who are creating these amazing things for our culture and our wines, and just taking their time. But thank you again, Chrisa. We appreciate it. And
thank you, guys.
Foti?
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ari. Thank you everyone for watching and listening. Don't forget, follow Chrisa at Wine Cellar Stories on Instagram, and we're definitely going to have her back sooner than later.
All right. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.